In a world that rarely grows quiet, I've learned how easily we forget to breathe. Some days the noise feels endless. Rushing traffic, buzzing phones, a mind that won't stop turning. But every now and then, life offers us a small invitation, a moment to pause, to soften, to hear our own thoughts again. And sometimes, that single breath is all we truly need to remember what matters. I still remember one evening, the house finally still, the sky turning a gentle shade of blue. I stood by the window, hands wrapped around a warm cup of tea, and for the first time that day, I let myself stop. No rushing, no thinking about tomorrow, just being. And in that quiet space, life felt simple again, almost beautifully so. Welcome to Simple Earth Studio. Today we're exploring Zen Inspired Living, the subtle, timeless lessons from Japanese culture that remind us how to move through life with grace. Lessons about simplicity, presence, and finding meaning in the small, gentle moments we often overlook. If you've been longing for a calmer rhythm, if you're searching for clarity, peace, or a deeper sense of purpose, this is your space. Let's slow down together and discover how a quieter life can also be a fuller one.
I used to believe peace was something I had to earn, something waiting for me at the end of a long to-do list, or after life finally stopped throwing surprises my way. But the older I get, the more I realize peace isn't something we chase. It's something that begins quietly, gently, from within. And that's something the Zen philosophy teaches in the simplest, most human way. Zen isn't a religion. It isn't mystical or complicated. It's not about chanting on a mountaintop or transforming yourself into someone new. Zen is simply a way of seeing the world, slowly, clearly, and without judgment. It's the art of being present with what is, instead of wrestling with what we wish things would be. I remember a morning not too long ago when this understanding finally made sense. I was sitting at the kitchen table, coffee steaming, the house still half asleep. My mind was already awake, racing through worries, plans, small regrets left over from the day before. But then something inside me whispered, "Just stop. Just be here." So I tried. I closed my eyes. I took a slow breath. And for 1 minute, just 1 minute, I let myself sit in stillness. No fixing, no planning, no judging. Just breathing. That single quiet moment felt like someone opened a window inside me and let fresh air rush in. It didn't solve everything. It didn't erase my responsibilities. But it softened me. It created space. It reminded me that peace is not the absence of problems. It's the ability to return to yourself even when life is messy. In Japanese culture, Zen teaches that peace doesn't come from controlling the world around us. It comes from observing and accepting. And if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or beyond, you probably understand this better than most. Life has shown you that control is an illusion. Kids grow up, parents pass on, seasons change, careers shift, health comes and goes. The world moves whether we want it to or not. But inside, we can choose how we meet it, with resistance or with presence, with panic or with breath, with heaviness or with clarity. The beauty of Zen is that it doesn't ask for grand gestures. You don't need an hour. You don't need silence. You don't even need to be good at it. You only need one small thing, one quiet minute every morning to sit, breathe, and notice. Let the light hit the table. Let the breath move through your chest. Let the world be what it is without rushing to change it. You might be surprised how quickly that minute begins to shift your day. Maybe you find yourself reacting more gently. Maybe your mind feels a little clearer. Maybe the small things, the sound of the birds outside, the warmth of your coffee, the softness of your breath, begin to feel like gifts again. Zen isn't about escaping life. It's about entering it more fully. It's about seeing the moment in front of you, this moment, with a calm, open heart. And if you're tired, if you're overwhelmed, if you've spent too many years putting yourself last, then perhaps this is your invitation to return to yourself, not by doing more, but by doing less, not by running, but by sitting still. Peace begins within you, quietly, patiently, like a small flame waiting to be noticed. And every time you pause, breathe, and allow the world to be just as it is, that flame grows a little brighter. Start with 1 minute. Start with 1 breath. Let that be enough. Because sometimes the simplest moments become the doorway to the peace we've been searching for all along.
There's a quiet wisdom in the way the Japanese describe simplicity. They call it Kanso. Not the kind of simplicity that comes from having less than you need, but the kind that comes from choosing less than you could have, so you can finally see what's right in front of you. I didn't understand this for most of my life. I grew up believing that more was better. More responsibilities, more achievements, more things filling the shelves and the calendar. For years, I said yes to everything, carried too much, and filled my home the same way I filled my days, with things I thought I needed, but never truly used. Maybe you know that feeling, walking through a house that's not messy, but somehow still feels heavy, or looking at a schedule so full that you barely remember what free time feels like. We don't always notice the weight we're carrying until something inside us gets tired enough to whisper, "Is this really how you want to live?" My whisper came one quiet afternoon when I opened a drawer looking for a pen. Instead, I found a pile of old receipts, tangled chargers, keys to something I no longer owned, and notebooks I never finished. It was such a small moment, but it hit me. I wasn't just cluttering my drawer, I was cluttering my life. So I tried something simple, almost silly. I cleaned that one drawer. Just one. I took everything out, held each object in my hands, and asked myself if I truly needed it. Most of it didn't make the cut. When I closed the drawer, it felt lighter, and strangely, so did I. It's funny how a tiny act can create a shift inside you. I kept thinking, if clearing one drawer can calm my mind, what else could I let go? And slowly, I began practicing my own version of Kanso. I started removing the things that didn't serve me, not just objects, but habits, obligations, even thoughts. I stopped saying yes out of guilt. I gave away things I kept just in case. I made space on my shelves and inside my days. And in return, life gave something back. More space to breathe, more time to live, more energy to love. The more I simplified, the more I noticed the world again, the way morning light stretches across the table, the softness of a quiet evening, the sound of my own steps on a walk without my phone. These moments had always been there. I was just too overwhelmed to see them. Simplicity didn't make my life smaller. It made my life clearer. It helped me focus not on what I owned, but on what I felt. Not on what I did, but on what I experienced. Not on how much time I had, but on how I used it. People often think that simplifying means giving things up. But the truth is, it's a trade, an exchange that deeply favors your soul. When you let go of what no longer matters, you make room for what always did. If you want to try this for yourself, don't start with the whole house. Don't start with a big goal. Just start with one small act, like I did. Clean one drawer today. Only one. Not because the drawer itself matters, but because of what it teaches you. That simplicity is possible, even in a busy life. That clarity is within reach. That you can choose peace one small decision at a time. And maybe, as you place that final item back in its place and close the drawer gently, you'll feel it. That quiet, steady sense of relief. A soft exhale. A tiny bit of space inside your mind you didn't know you were missing. That's the beginning of Kanso. The beginning of coming home to yourself. And sometimes, all it takes is one drawer.
When I first heard the word Wabi-Sabi, I didn't think much of it. Just another pretty phrase from a faraway culture, something poetic, maybe even philosophical, but not something that truly touched everyday life. But over the years, as life added its own marks on me, the wrinkles around my eyes, the quiet aches in my bones, the small heartbreaks and quiet victories only time can shape, I began to understand what the Japanese have known for centuries. There is beauty in the imperfect, the unfinished, the worn, and the real. I remember one afternoon, sitting at my kitchen table, looking at an old ceramic mug I'd had for nearly 20 years. A tiny crack ran along the rim, one I had tried to hide, then grown used to, and eventually stopped noticing. But that day, in the soft sunlight, the crack caught my eye. Instead of feeling annoyed, I felt something else, a strange tenderness. That little line carried stories. Mornings when I rushed out the door, rainy Sundays spent reading by the window, quiet moments when all I needed was a warm drink and a bit of silence. It reminded me of my own cracks, the mistakes I've made, the losses I've lived through, the moments that shaped me without my permission. For so long, I tried to smooth them out, hide them, pretend they didn't exist. I was convinced that only the perfect parts of me were worth showing. But Wabi-Sabi says something different. It whispers, life is not perfect, and it doesn't need to be. In fact, the imperfections are the very things that make it beautiful. As we get older, we begin noticing time in small ways. The way our hands change, the way our minds soften to what used to bother us, the way we learn to let go, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. The world often tells us to fight these changes, to chase youth as if it's the only version of life that matters. But Wabi-Sabi gently invites us to shift our gaze. Instead of resisting change, it asks us to appreciate the life behind it. The Japanese honor objects that have aged, the patina on wood, the cracks filled with gold in kintsugi pottery, the texture of something used and loved. To them, these marks aren't flaws. They are proof that something has lived, served, endured, proof that time has given it depth. And aren't we the same? The lines on your face, they're not something to hide. They're stories. The moments when life knocked you down, they're not failures. They're lessons. Your memories, sweet or painful, they are pieces of a life truly lived. I once spoke with an older neighbor, a woman in her 70s with the warmest smile you can imagine. She told me that every wrinkle on her face belonged to someone she had loved or a moment that had shaped her heart. Why would I want to erase that? She laughed. I worked hard for these lines. I've never forgotten that.
Wabi-Sabi teaches us that beauty doesn't live in perfection. It lives in authenticity, in the way we carry ourselves after a loss, in the strength it takes to start over, in the softness that comes from surviving hard seasons, in the courage to be ourselves, as we are, not as we once were, or as someone else expects us to be. And here's the truth many of us forget as life gets faster, louder, and more demanding. Perfection keeps us distant, but imperfection brings us closer, to others and to ourselves. When we allow ourselves to be imperfect, we become more human, more open, more forgiving, more connected. So today, take a moment to appreciate the small, imperfect things around you, the uneven edges of a wooden table, the faded pages of a book you've read too many times, the memories carried in your smile. Let them remind you that beauty isn't something you chase. It's something you notice. And maybe, just maybe, the most beautiful parts of your life are the ones touched by time, softened by experience, and shaped by the quiet, gentle truth of being human. Because Wabi-Sabi isn't just an idea, it's an invitation to honor where you've been, to accept where you are, and to embrace the imperfect beauty of the life you're still creating.
There is a phrase in Japanese tea culture that has stayed with me ever since I first heard it. Ichigo-Ichie. One moment, one time in a lifetime. At first, it sounded poetic, almost too simple. But the older I get, the more truth I hear in it. It's a gentle reminder that every moment we experience, no matter how ordinary it may seem, is something we will never live again. I think about that often now, especially in the season of life when time seems to move differently. Some days feel long, yes, but the years, they slip through our fingers quicker than we expect. We spend so much of our lives rushing, planning, trying to fix what's ahead or make sense of what's behind, that we forget the only moment we truly own is the one we're standing in. I remember one evening, years ago, when the whole family gathered for dinner. Nothing fancy, just soup, bread, a bit of laughter floating around the table. I was busy thinking about work, about bills, about the emails waiting for me. I barely noticed the way my granddaughter swung her feet under the chair, or how the golden light from the kitchen window settled so softly on my mother's hands. I didn't know it then, but it would be the last time we were all together in that little dining room. And life has a way of reminding us, sometimes quietly, sometimes painfully, that moments don't wait for us to be ready. They don't pause until we finish the next task. They pass, gently and silently, whether we are present or not. That's what Ichigo-Ichie means. Every shared meal, every sunset, every soft breeze moving through the trees, every conversation that warms the heart, every smile from someone we love, each one happens only once in its own beautiful and unrepeatable form. When I finally began to understand that, I started living differently. Now, when I sit with my grandson and he tells me a story he's excited about, I put down my phone and look directly into his bright, honest eyes. I remind myself, this moment won't come again. When I watch the sky shift from gold to pink at the end of the day, I don't rush inside to finish chores. I pause, breathe, and take it in. Because tomorrow's sunset won't be this one. And tonight's air, tonight's quiet, tonight's feeling in my chest, this version of life is happening just once. Even the simplest moments have become treasures.
the sound of wind brushing through the garden, the warmth of a mug in my hands on a chilly morning, the way the light hits the wooden floor. These tiny details, so easy to overlook, are small miracles when we pay attention. Presence is not about perfection. It's about acceptance, awareness, gratitude. It's choosing to be where your feet are, even if life is messy, even if the world feels heavy. It's letting yourself feel the sweetness of a moment without needing to photograph it, label it, or turn it into something more. And gratitude? That's the key that opens the door. Because once you begin to appreciate what's in front of you, even the most ordinary minutes become sacred. So today, let this be your gentle reminder. You don't need a different life to feel alive. You don't need more time. You need more presence. You don't need to chase meaning. You can notice it. Each moment you are given is unique, unrepeatable, a once-in-a-lifetime gift. So be here, fully, softly, gratefully. Because when you look back years from now, it won't be the busy days you remember. It will be the small, beautiful moments when you were truly present. The moments that only happened once and were more than enough.
There's a quiet truth the world rarely teaches us anymore. A truth the Japanese have understood for centuries. They call it seijuku, the powerful stillness that exists not in the absence of life, but in the very heart of it. It's the kind of silence that isn't empty, but full of breath, full of awareness, full of the gentle energy we forget when our days move too fast. I didn't understand this at first. Like many of us, I lived in a rhythm of rushing, grocery lists, work calls, family needs, constant notifications buzzing in my pocket. Even at home, my mind kept spinning, hopping from thought to thought like a restless bird. I filled every corner of my life, every moment, every room. Silence felt unfamiliar. Stillness made me uneasy. But then, one evening, I noticed a simple thing, a patch of sunlight shifting across the living room wall. It moved slowly, gently, like a quiet reminder that time could flow differently if I let it. I sat down and watched it for a moment, just a minute or two, and in that pause, everything inside me softened. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a breakthrough. It was something smaller, deeper, a kind of peaceful exhale I didn't realize I needed. That's when I began to understand seijuku. In traditional Japanese homes, there are always intentional empty spaces, a bare corner, a simple alcove, a stretch of wall with nothing on it. These spaces are not wasted. They are invitations, places where the mind can rest, breathe, settle. We don't have many spaces like that in modern American life. Our homes are filled, our calendars are packed, our minds rarely get a moment unclaimed. But maybe that's exactly why seijuku matters more than ever, especially for those of us who have lived long enough to know that the world isn't slowing down anytime soon. But that doesn't mean we can't. Stillness is not giving up. It's not laziness. It's not stepping away from life. Stillness is stepping into life, fully, consciously, gently. So, tonight or tomorrow morning, try it. Set down your phone. Let the world rush on without you.
Give yourself those 5 quiet minutes. Listen, watch, breathe, be. Let Seijaku, that powerful, living stillness, find its way back to you. And when it does, you'll feel it. That soft returning, that gentle clarity, that reminder that peace isn't far away. It's right here, waiting in the quiet, waiting in the spaces we finally choose to honor. One quiet moment at a time.
There's a quiet moment that comes to many of us in our 40s, 50s, 60s, or even 70s. A moment when we pause long enough to ask ourselves, what truly gives my life meaning now? Not the meaning we chased in our 20s, not the achievements we fought for in our 30s, but the meaning that fits who we are today, softer, wiser, and maybe a little tired from the noise of the modern world. In Japan, there is a word for this kind of purpose, ikigai, the simple, gentle reason you want to wake up each morning. It doesn't have to be dramatic, it doesn't have to impress anyone, and it certainly doesn't have to be tied to a career, a title, or a long list of accomplishments. For many people, especially in the later chapters of life, ikigai becomes something beautifully ordinary. It might be the small garden behind your house, the one where you plant tomatoes every spring, even though the rabbits always take the food. It might be cooking a simple meal you've made 1,000 times, the flavor reminding you of home, comfort, and the people you've loved. It might be calling an old friend just to hear their voice and remember a time when life felt slower, easier, more sincere. Or maybe your ikigai is as simple as taking a slow walk through the park each morning, watching the light shift through the trees, listening to the world breathe in ways we often forget to notice. Ikigai isn't about doing more. It's about living deeper. It's the feeling of being rooted in something meaningful, something that reminds you that your life, just as it is, still has beauty, purpose, and warmth. I remember a man I met once, a retired teacher in his late 60s. He told me that after leaving his job, he felt lost for a while. His days were too quiet. His phone stopped ringing. The sense of importance he once carried faded into the background. One morning, he started watering the plants on his porch, not because he had to, but because it felt good. Day after day, he cared for those plants. Then one afternoon, he noticed a small green shoot he hadn't seen before. He smiled and said, "I think this is my ikigai now, watching things grow." It didn't matter that it wasn't grand. It mattered that it made him feel alive. Ikigai grows in the ordinary, in the little rituals you repeat without thinking, in the moments that soften your heart, in the things that make you breathe a little slower, in whatever brings you back to yourself. So many of us spent decades chasing success, security, and approval, and maybe those things mattered then, but as we grow older, something shifts. We begin to realize that meaning doesn't always come from the big, loud parts of life. Sometimes it comes from the tender, quiet ones. You don't need to reinvent your life to find your ikigai.
You don't need to chase a new dream, start a business, or travel the world unless you truly want to. What you need is to pay attention to what warms your heart now. Maybe your ikigai is caring for your grandchildren. Maybe it's sitting on the porch at sunrise. Maybe it's journaling each night, or tending flowers, or learning to cook something new, or simply enjoying the steadiness of a slow morning routine. Purpose isn't about speed, achievement, or perfection. It's about presence. It's about choosing something, no matter how small, that brings you joy, connection, and a sense that your life still has direction, even if the path is gentle and quiet. So today, allow yourself to ask, what makes me feel alive now? Where does my heart feel at home? What small joy can I return to each morning? Because your ikigai doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be yours. And sometimes, the simplest reasons to wake up each day are the most powerful reasons of all.
I used to think peace was something I had to earn, something waiting for me on the other side of a perfect routine, a completed checklist, or a well-planned future. For most of my life, I kept moving, always trying to stay one step ahead of stress, one step ahead of time. But the faster I moved, the more life blurred into a series of tasks and obligations. The days came and went, and somewhere along the way, I forgot how to simply be. One morning, long before the neighborhood woke up, I stepped outside with a cup of warm coffee. The air was cool, the world still. I wasn't trying to meditate or be productive. I just wanted a breath. And as I stood there, watching the soft light spread across the yard, something in me unclenched. The noise in my mind quieted. For a moment, I wasn't chasing anything. I wasn't trying to fix or improve my life. I was simply present. And in that stillness, I realized peace had never left. I had just been moving too fast to notice it. Zen doesn't ask us to escape life. It doesn't tell us to withdraw or to stop caring or to detach from the people we love. Zen simply invites us to see life more clearly, to recognize that peace isn't hiding somewhere far away. It's woven into the smallest moments, the sound of leaves brushing against each other, the gentle rhythm of your own breath, the quiet warmth of sunlight on your skin. Peace is always there, waiting patiently for us to stop running long enough to feel it. As I began slowing down, truly slowing down, I started noticing things I had overlooked for years. The way my home feels different in morning light, the softness of a familiar voice, the comfort of doing one thing at a time instead of many. And suddenly life didn't feel like a battle to win. It felt like something to appreciate, moment by moment. Maybe you're feeling that same exhaustion, the weight of a world that never stops moving, the constant pressure to do more, be more, achieve more. Maybe you're longing for a gentler life, a quieter rhythm, a deeper sense of purpose. If so, you're not alone. So many of us reach a point where we realize that running faster isn't the answer. Sometimes the most courageous thing we can do is pause. If you're looking for a way to live lighter, to breathe deeper, to reconnect with what truly matters, then come walk this path with me. Not as experts or perfect people, but as human beings, learning to slow down, soften, and see again.
Let's continue this journey toward clarity, toward presence, toward a peace that has been here all along, waiting for us to simply stop and return home to ourselves.
If you found comfort in these quiet moments, the kind that remind you to breathe a little deeper and live a little slower, I want to invite you to stay a while. Here on Simple Earth Studio, we explore the beauty of stillness, the gentle rhythm of slow living, and the timeless wisdom found in Japanese philosophy. If these ideas speak to your heart, if they bring you even a small sense of peace, I hope you'll click like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next moment of calm we share together. Thank you for spending your time here today. I know how precious your days are, how full life can feel at this age, with its mix of responsibilities, memories, and the quiet longing for something simpler, something more meaningful. I hope this space gives you that, a soft place to land, a reminder that peace is still possible and that you deserve it. As you close this video, I wish you a peaceful evening, the kind where the house is quiet, the lights are warm, and your heart feels just a little lighter than before. May calmness follow you, may clarity find you, and may your soul rest gently tonight.